So how have you gone about defining what creativity means?
So in the book, we profile a few opinions from thought leaders. As I said, we should respect the great and the good of the advertising industry and what they have to say. But what we come to the conclusion in the book on is that it still misses something. And what it misses is actually the perceptions and experiences of the most important people in advertising, by the way, regular people. The people whose behavior advertising is tasked to influence, but we actually hear very little about in terms of their view of creativity, their experience of creativity in advertising. So what we did to uncover and get that missing piece of the jigsaw was to ask people to describe advertising that they have considered to be creative, advertising they've seen in the past. And we did that amongst about 20,000 people across 8 countries. And what we found was really illuminating, a lot of diverse themes that came through. So as you might expect, yes, difference and originality came through, but also fun, enjoyment, entertainment, an appreciation of production quality, and generally being interested about what you've seen. And this led us to propose a definition of creativity in the book, which centers on originality and difference with some kind of end value to the audience. So not originality and difference alone, but a form of value for the audience in that advertising experience.
Okay, Adam, you just used the word audience rather than people. So I'm very interested to know why you used that word.
It comes from a conclusion that we've come to in the book about the fact that advertising really is an experience. So you could look at advertising in one of two ways. A set of information, messages that a passive receiver will accept, and then you will influence them to buy or choose your product. That's one way to look at it. The way we have concluded it should be looked at is as an experience. And if you think about how advertising is placed, it's often placed amongst entertainment content. It's often placed amongst other online video, broadcast TV content, and it stands to reason that being an experience that you as a marketer should really think about advertising being an experience. And even just the change in that one word from consumers, for example, to an audience can really change your mindset in trying to deliver an experience. And we do see in the book, in the data and the observations, that delivering an experience in certain ways can lead to better effects. So that's why we have that use of the word audience.
So I find that fascinating and it makes sense to me, but you've latched on to entertainment, and I think there's the message that you wanted to give the audience here, at least that are watching this video. So maybe you can expand on that entertainment piece a little bit, just to give us an example of something you've used in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. In a way, it was more luck than planning that a lot of the misfits that we've profiled in the book are actually from the world of entertainment, be that video games, music, movies. The misfits of the world that we've profiled, the people that actively don't fit in to get to better outcomes and value for their audience, tend to come from the world of entertainment. And one example, just to share to illustrate this, is a person in the world of video games that we've profiled, Shigeru Miyamoto, who is the creative fellow of Nintendo. And he is responsible for many things in Nintendo. So he created Super Mario, their company mascot, but he also, with some other people at Nintendo, developed the Legend of Zelda game series. And that's a game series dear to my heart. It may not be familiar to many people, but the key point with the Legend of Zelda is how Miyamoto approached it. So he actively didn't want to fit in, but at the same time, he understood he needed to ground that story, that gaming experience in the familiar. So a hero saving the princess in a fantasy world. That's something we've heard many, many times before. But the not fitting in, the originality and difference that built on the familiarity was actually having a free roaming gaming experience for that very first Legend of Zelda game. And what we saw and see today in the sales data for Zelda, which we profile in the book, is that can be a very successful recipe. And moreover, if you chart all the games in the Legend of Zelda series, and there are 10 in total, and you classify them as those that repeat a familiar experience only, or those that have some form of originality, some form of evolution, what you see is that the ones that have the evolution and originality are the ones that tend to sell more than the simple repeats and repetition of the experience from before. So there's a real, I think, merging, if you will, of those misfit examples with the world of entertainment. And it comes back to what I said earlier. It's about advertising needing to be an experience, and advertising can actually learn from entertainment and the kind of experiences that are delivered. So I do personally see a lot of parallels between those two worlds, and incidentally, not that many people will know, but I used to work in entertainment research, and many things I would have observed in that when understanding what people think of films or movie trailers. There are a number of parallels with advertising that we do expand on in the book.